Good evening. You're still watching Sunday Express right here on KBC Channel 1. I'm Regina Manyara. Now, we talk about the role that men have to play in society. Men double up as brothers. They double up as uncles, fathers. They take up leadership roles in various capacities within the society. But then focus seemingly has shifted in building capacity when it comes to the girl child, and the boy child is forgotten. Tonight we talk about the process of becoming a man of valor. And we're talking to none other than the co-founder of the BraveHearts leadership program, who is also a psychologist. Karibu sana, John Njoroge.
Thank you.
When you talk about Men of Valor, it sounds like maybe a title of a movie or so. But now let's address the issue of what was your driving force to come up with this mentorship program, and why did you target boys?
Two things. One, growing up, I had when I went to high school after primary school, one day as I was perusing the newspapers, I saw images of my former primary school kids who had been shot by the police because they were involved in criminal activities, and they all had one thing in common: they didn't have fathers. And then number two, there's this man who mentored me, and as a result of that, one of the things that he challenged me to do is pay forward by mentoring other young people. Yes.
Okay, so you drew from inspiration from that.
Yes.
But then let's look at, there's a general feel that focus has always, for the last several years, been on building capacity towards a girl child, and the boy child has somewhat, been left behind. We also had the deputy president's first wife, Dorcas Rigathi, mentioned to that.
Yes.
And what are we doing? What is the program doing to ensure that the boy child is also included when it comes to matters of building capacity?
One is identifying that children and youth, and especially the boys, are under threat, and we need to take a collective measure. And one of the things that we have done is recruit mentors, train mentors, and also partner with their schools and religious groups, so that we can provide an avenue for boys to engage with the mentors. Given that currently most of the families that we have in Kenya, they are led by single mothers, and it's something that we need to pay attention to, especially because when boys grow without the father figure, it becomes a challenge because they are not able to draw some of the skills and also their roles in the society as men.
I'd want to be a devil's advocate in this particular position, because I'm thinking we're doing a bandage onto absentee fathers within the homes. But then instead of going after the reason of absentee fathers, why are they absconding their duties as fathers and dads? Maybe in this particular mentorship program, are you also targeting, young men who at one point are going to be father figures, or rather be fathers to their children?
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's where we recruit mentors. And as we mentor these boys, those who graduate, we encourage them to come back and to play part in this. And then number two, also encouraging fathers to participate, because there are children who will come and say, I would really want to meet my dad. And so communicating to the fathers that your absence contributes to this. And if you don't play part in your son's life, then you affect his self-estimation in the society, and that's the way we pass on issues from one generation to the next. Yes.
Then the disclaimer is then, are you saying that single mothers are not capable of bringing up morally upright men of valor?
Not necessarily. I think one of the things that we need to acknowledge is we need to take care of we need to take care of the family units and to involve everyone. And we are not implying that single mothers are not capable, but you realize there's so many factors that can actually contribute to a stressed mother or even a stressed father. True. And when a mother is stressed, especially when the father has denied that this is my child, then it becomes an issue, because then that stress is passed on to the child. And so even mothers, actually most of the guys who advocate for this program are mothers. Yes.
So tell us more about this particular program, and is it rolled out across the country, or are you domiciled in particular areas?
No. Actually, our target is every boy in this country and even beyond, because we also have a group going through the program in Uganda, and we've also had a few engage in this program from Germany. And what we have is we have 10 topics that we cover. Here's the manual that boys use, and so every week they have a chapter that they tackle, and the first chapter here is vision. And the reason why we put that as the first chapter is because where there is no vision, people perish. And once a boy captures the vision, why they exist in this world, and their role in community development, and also helping their families, it's because once they understand that this is my vision and this is what I live for, then that becomes their true north. The other one is roller coaster, because we deal with teenagers. Yes. There's so many things that they go through and we address them. And here we are not actually talking to them, but engaging in a conversation, because our belief is that there's no child who comes in this world empty. For us is to nurture them and to nurture that which their maker put in them. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, Wills, I'd want to ask a question that has maybe sometimes even broken homes. Mm-hmm. The issue of the 50-50, shared responsibility within the family setup. Mm-hmm. Because what we learn within our homes definitely, carries a lot of weight to the decisions that we make as adults. Mm-hmm. The role of a man within a family setup. Mm-hmm.
I would say that the most important thing is for a man and a woman to complement, okay, and not to compete. Then also shared vision and shared values in the family. And so you will realize that you can have a company or a business, and you have a business model, but as a family you don't come together and discuss that this is where we are heading and these are the needs that we are meeting in the family. Mm-hmm. And 50-50 sometimes may not work, because maybe at one time the husband may not be working, or even the wife may not be working. Mm-hmm. And so how do you complement and prioritize raising these children in a wholesome way? Because if we neglect the needs that the children have, then it becomes a challenge. And what children pick from us is rejection.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Now, I've brought this issue up because there's a way we were raised in the 70s and 80s and how we are raising our children now. Mm-hmm. We were raised to know that a man is the head of the family, he's a provider. Mm-hmm. But currently, we're finding homes that are ran by women, and they're in a marriage institution. Mm-hmm. So how do we marry what we learned vis-a-vis what the reality is? How do we, get to a consensus and say this is our situation and this is where we are? Because I think it's also bringing a lot of, pressures, especially on young boys. They're expected to do this, but the reality is this. How does that not affect their self-esteem? Because I tend to think it's also a self-esteem issue.
Absolutely, and that is why our first topic is vision. Because when you take the word provision, it is being pro-vision. Providing direction in the family, and for children learning from us, there's how we were raised, there's what we saw, but also times have changed, especially because of the other factors like economic factors. Then as a society, especially in urban areas, we don't have villages where people come together, where you can say that, my friend here, you don't have enough food, can we share what we have? So it becomes a challenge. But even then, people were going through issues. But they were growing together as a community. And I think the spirit of Ubuntu then was stronger than the way it is right now. Because currently we are just competing.
Yes, we are capitalistic. So final word, Wills, as we bring this to a close, how do we, basically, just 2-3 things on how to become a man of valor?
One of the things is ensure that if you have a son, and if you have a son for the father, make sure that you're available for your son. As a mom, if you have a son, make sure that there's a man in his life, because there are different things that actually contribute to raising a child as a single mom. there is a separation, there is divorce, there is death. All those factors are there. But I would also encourage men in our society to rise up and identify a son somewhere, because as you mentor that son, as you encourage that son, you actually helping the future, and you're writing a different story for us as a nation and even as a continent. Yes.
Very well said. We put that conversation to that, we grind to a halt on that. And the challenge is, if you're a man out there, identify a son you can be a father to provide mentorship. As they say, if boys do not learn, then men will never know. You're watching Sunday Express.